Yo, what is happening, all you beautiful people? Now, today I'd like to talk about with you about the following idea or concept. Now, this is how most of these videos will be created or already have been created. And it's about just letting it flow. Now, most of the times people overanalyze things, and if you overanalyze things, you get into a stuck. You don't flow freely. Now, this is why the the rhyme exists. You paralyze by overanalyze, and this is certainly true. Yesterday I was watching a show of Zen Edman, and yeah, he actually told me this, and this was very interesting because most of the content he's producing right now is perfectly matching to my thoughts. Now, if you create a free flow of energy, or which is inner chi, energy is inner chi, so if you create a free flow inside of you, you have just not so much to think about. Most of the times, I actually think that there is nothing to talk about. If you have certain truths inside of you and you've practiced them, you know that it's a mind game. So the next dense stage would be to speak and use spells. But if it's condensed to mind, you don't have to speak. You don't have to use spells. Now, you can use that to manifest your reality and to manifest your mind, which is a God thing. You can also write things down. But first of all, like I told you, it's about what do you have inside of your mind. Now, what do you have inside of your mind is cymatics. And these thought forms get pushed out. Now, these things are formed into different shapes, and the more harmonic something is, the more harmonic it will be shaped. So people will realize that. This has to be this has also something to do with your gut feeling. And of course, like I told you in the last videos, it has also something to do with fasting. Now you train on an empty stomach, you speak on an empty stomach, you just be, you are on an empty stomach. You feel things differently because you have the ability to listen to your gut feeling. Most people can't, or it hurts, because they're full of shit. And if you're empty and it hurts, well, then you feel the energies around you, or maybe you feel very good. So you just become more aware of things. You become very empathic to other people, and you are in tune with yourself over time, because you will just feel what is resonating with you and what is not. So first thing would be cymatics. Then we can use words and language, spells which we produce, and by that creating our environment. Envire the mind, right? Mind is always mind, like I told you. These letters manifest in your reality, and these letters are holding on to certain ideas and truths. This is why etymology is so important, because now you have the ability to decode things. You can decode what is in front of you, because these letters by themselves, they already mean something. Now you put them together, they get a whole or not a different meaning, but it adds up. And if you put that into words and sentences, now you have connections to each of these letters, and they actually build a thought, which is cymatics. Now, then the third thing would be numbers. Numbers are of a different nature because, like you say, in the beginning was the word, but in the beginning was actually the thought or the cymatic, which gets pushed out via the word. And then imagination is taking place and forms the word into its image. Now the numbers, they try to measure stuff. Everything you see around yourself is it is just there. But now the human mind comes into place and tries to measure this and measure that, and what degree is this, and how long is that, or how long does it take to get there? So we have to measure time and stuff. But see, if you come from your own standpoint, and if you realize that you are the emitter of time, you send these things out, you send out your thought forms, now you realize that there is nothing to measure. This has also something to do with the movement culture, which is coming back, because movement is already encoded or encoded inside of you, inside of your body. So you don't have to certainly measure your movement, because, like I told you, movement is moving the mind. Now you should move your mind in any direction where you would like to be. So why measure it? Go up, down, left, right, cross, I don't care. Go back. And even these vectors, right? They are straight lines. Maybe you should move more in the curve, more dynamic. Move freely. And yeah, mostly people overcalculate phenomena. This is a very dense idea, because if you measure things, you are not as creative as you probably can be. Of course, it is nice what we have done and what we've built, but this is not our full potential. This is of dense nature. Now you move up, you become more light, more spiritual. You just start to float. And like I told you, this has of course something to do with the states of water. Now water can be dense, water can be fluid, and water can be mist. So if it becomes mist, now it's mystical and it moves up. It's becoming less dense. So there you get all these spiritual thought forms, these cymatics people send out. And well, if you are of God nature, people will realize that. And suddenly it gets pushed down to this dense form, because now people feel it. If they have the ability, if they are in tune with themselves, if they have probably hair, because it's your antenna, or it's your heritage. You are in connection with your past self, with your past beings, with your ancestors. Now, everything that you can imagine is already here. You just pull it out of the spiritual realm, of the mystical realm, and send it down to a dense form. Now you speak it, you use spells and letters, and you suddenly can manifest that through dense material, through matter, through the double T, through the cross, which is you. right? You are the cross. Now, this gets me to other idea I had today, which is the optimistic and the pessimistic. Now, the optimistic, it's both mystical, right? So both is connected to spirit or mist or air, the upper realms. Now you cut out of optimistic the O and the I, so you don't have opi or opti. You just have PT. Now the P, like I told you, is connected to the penis, and the penis is connected to the male energy or the spine, which of course also womb men have. Now this is not about good or bad, it's about the human body has both energies already encoded, male and female, good and evil, black and white, and also optimistic and pessimistic, right? So the T, like I told you, is your own body. It's your cross. Now, this is why it's so important to take care of your body, of your cross, of your spine, of your penis, which is an anagram for spine. Now, you realize, oh, yeah, I should go to the chiropractor. Well, like I told you, you can adjust your own spine via the bioenergetic stool and the hip shuffle or the pelvis shuffle, because now you can put your spine in a perfect line, and now you are aligned. So when you are straight, now you can move in any direction, okay? Bend it, I don't care. Right? But see, if I'm doing this, you should already realize, how do you sit? Is your spine erected or not? Well, and if not, just don't care about it, but realize it. If you know what you're doing, and if you know your position, you can be strong in every position. Yeah, this even gets me into another idea I would like to discuss later or another time, which is just moving yourself, moving through everyday life with ankle weights or with wrist weights or a weight vest or just some bands, because now you put pressure on yourself, you put external weight on you. Now you release that, you suddenly realize, oh, I can move so freely, man. And you actually train the movement which you are doing in everyday life. So you become better at that. You become better in just maybe lifting a book, right? And this is very natural, because you are doing these movement patterns every day. So if you become better at them, that's very wise, isn't it? Because now you go to the gym, you spend there maybe 1 hour. 1 hour, 3 times a week. But do you actually train movement patterns which you use for the other 23 hours on those 3 days? And now you also have 4 days where you don't work out, right? So it's like 3 hours per week you work out movement patterns which you probably do not even use. the other, I don't know how many hundreds of hours. So it just makes sense to train movement patterns you use in everyday life. And this gets me back to the movement culture, which gets me back to the numbers and trying to measure every single thing, right? You should just move in every direction, erect your spine, and now move it, move it in every direction. It's not bad to bend your spine. It's not bad to be crunched over. It's not bad to sit fucked up like this. Now, you sit fucked up like this for 24 hours, then it gets bad. Why? Because you block your inner chi flow. It's that simple. Now, what can you do to release that? You can just add more water, add more liquids. Now you suddenly start to flow back. Or what can you do? You fast, because now you speed up the process of healing. What can you also do? You heal yourself by just placing your heel onto the ground, right? Walk barefoot. Or you just probably ground yourself by just walking barefoot or laying down on a flat, dense surface. See, it's already encoded in yourself, in your body. But now you fuck up things because you have no intuition. You are not in tune with yourself. Because if you would be, you wouldn't do all of that shit. Or you would do that, but you know the solution. And the solution is also encoded inside of you. We can talk about urine again. Now, see what we also have written down. What spells do we have? Now, the idea why I'm using that is why I'm using this book to manifest reality. Now, I know how to speed up reality and I know how to slow it down. You just simply do that by a liquid or urine or distilled waters or dense matter or food or salt. But now you use salt, you are assaulted. So you shouldn't use that much earth or that much salt. The shaman actually doesn't care, because you can just climb the ladder up and down, left and right. So you know the solutions. You know the solution to things. You can do it. But on the other hand, if you know how it makes you feel and what effect does it have, so you don't do that much shit. You try to stay in a form of balance. Life in the balance, rise through the challenge. Now this is the owl, or the 4 owls, which are actually telling you that. Look these songs up. Now, this is why I'm using the ritual of writing, because I manifest my reality by putting or writing down thought forms and spells and letters via using language. And now I pull these constructs out of my head in a dense form, which is, well, the tree is cut down and the paper is produced, and I'm using the pencil to write things. But see, actually it's not necessary to do that, because if you have connection to self, and if you're in tune with yourself, if you have connection to spirituality or spiritual realms, everything is already there. And if you're not blocked and you're just in a state of flow, you can just put things together. Now most people can't, because they are blocked or they are too dense. So then we can use the ritual, the writing down of things, to remember stuff. Or you can use that. I'm using that because I put things out of my head. And these thought forms, they are. I empty out myself. Let's put it that way. I empty out myself, so I have room to create something new. Now, of course, I have to look that up again, but I can also remind myself and add new things to it, like in this video. Now, just learn to speak in a fluid flow form. Yeah, so the movement culture, just move, not overcalculate with weights or repetitions or time, instead emit your own time, own frequency. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Now, these words and spells can help to manifest your reality, or to better your reality, or to quicken your reality. And well, get it out of your mind by using a ritual or write something down. Yeah. So you pull things out of mind in a dense physical form. Met. Yeah. And you see, that's actually it for now. Yeah. You measure things if you think you have to measure them, but it would be better to be artistic and write things down, be creative. Now you can't be as creative with numbers as with letters. See, there's a reason why we have poetry, or we have the MCs, the master of ceremony, right? These people are using language. They are singing, right? They don't give you numbers. They give you spells and letters. Now, actually they give you harmonics. If you are the master of ceremony, you give something a harmony. And if you are in tune with that, if you're like in the radio station, if you tune into that frequency, you feel it, and you use these cymatics because these cymatics add up to your own, or maybe you just feel that these cymatics resonate with you, or you need more of a certain frequency. And this is also what healing is, right? You just put yourself in a place with God vibes, with God frequencies or vibrations. And yeah, this can be any place. I would recommend, and this is not hippie esoteric bullshit, this is just own experiences